Hello student, this is your science teacher Ms. Yunika Amanat. Okay, today we will discuss the next topic of heat is about moving particles. Okay, and this topic is kinetic theory of particles or kinetic particle theory. So what is kinetic theory of matter? All matter is made up of atoms and molecules that act as tiny particles. These tiny particles are always in motion. Okay, so moving energy is known as kinetic energy. Here you can see cold particles and hot particles. Okay, so what we have to observe in this diagram, when the temperature is high, particles move faster, and when temperature is low, particles move slower. Here you can see in cold, particles are moving slow, and in hot, particles are moving faster. Now we are recalling the previous concept here now. Okay, let's recall the previous concept. You know there are four states of matter, and according to your syllabus we have discussed three states of matter: solid, liquid and gas. And how are they all arranged? They are closely packed with each other and they have very few intermolecular spaces between them. Here you can see how do they move. They do not move from one place to another place. They vibrate on their fixed position. Now how particles are arranged in liquids? You know that they have particles of liquids are far away from each other as compared to solid. Okay, and there are few spaces present between them. Here you can observe few spaces between them. Okay, how particles are arranged? Liquids have more heat energy than solids because there are spaces between them, and particles are free to move around faster and change position easily. Here you can see the arrangement of particles, and here you can observe the movement of particles in liquid. Now how particles are arranged in gases? You know that they are far away from each other and there are lot of intermolecular spaces between them. You can observe these all are the spaces between all these molecules. Because they have a lot of spaces between them, so this is also the particle model. There are so many spaces between them. So due to this reason, you know what happens, that these particles are moving very fast and they can move in all directions. Here in this container you can see these particles are moving in all directions. Now let's come to your topic. What is a kinetic theory? Kinetic theory explains behavior of substances. So what is melting? When solid converts into liquid, this is known as melting. The process in which solid is converted into liquid is called melting. Let's see the example: melting of ice, chocolates, ice cream. Okay, in all these substances what happens, when they are solid they are hard, and when temperature is removed or temperature is less, they melt. Okay, now how kinetic theory explain melting? When solid is warmed, its particles move faster until some break free and become part of liquid. Here this is solid, and here now when solid is warmed, energy is applied to this solid, what happens? Now it has become liquid. Okay, now here you can see solid particles are closely packed with each other, and after applying heat what happens? Their particles are free to move. So this is melting. What is evaporation? You already know that, you must have studied in class 3 or 4. The process in which liquid is converted into vapors is called evaporation. Now let's see the general examples. Evaporation of water. When we heat water, water evaporates in the atmosphere. Here you can see the Water is present in the ocean, so from the ocean water evaporates due to the heat of sun in the atmosphere. So this process is evaporation. When we heat water on the stove, what happens? This water become gas and it evaporates in the atmosphere. Evaporation of some chemicals, evaporation of organic liquids, okay, they are also able to evaporate in atmosphere. Now, how kinetic theory explain evaporation? If heat is applied to a liquid, the particles move faster at the surface. The faster particles break free to move from a gas above it. What happens that when we apply heat to the water, when there are so many particles which have high energy and they move into the atmosphere. All particles have different kind of energy, different amount of energy. So those particles which have high amount of energy, they evaporate in the atmosphere. Energy is required. Why energy is required? It means when heat is applied, then evaporation takes place. Okay. When there is no heat, evaporation will not take place. What is condensation? Condensation is opposite to the evaporation. The process in which vapors are converted back into liquid. In evaporation, we discussed that when liquid is converted into gas, when liquid is converted into vapors, and now what happens? Vapors converted back into liquid. Okay. You know, when we heat water, when we cook anything on the stove, and when we move this cover to gas, steam, vapors or drops of the vapors go back to this container. Okay, so this steam when go back to the container, so they get their previous state and they become liquid. So this is condensation. Condensation of water during cooking, and the water cycle, evaporation takes place, and after that what happens? These vapors come back to the surface. Condensation of water in rain formation. What happens in rain? Evaporation due to the process by the process of evaporation, these all particles of water go to the atmosphere, and after that what happens? When at specific time, what happens that these vapors come down to the earth. Now, how kinetic theory explain condensation? When heat energy is removed from gas, its temperature falls, the gas particles slows down and move closer to form liquid. Here you can understand. And when energy is removed from the gas particles, okay, it becomes again liquid, and this process is known as condensation. What is freezing? When liquid becomes solid, you all know that we normally freeze so many things in our freezer. Okay, so when liquid convert into solid, this process is known as freezing. Let's see examples. Freezing of water, juice. As liquid cools, particles slow down and come closer together and form solid. When it is hot, particles are free to move, and when it is cold, they are arranged in a particular pattern. Okay student, what is your homework? You have to explain movement of particles in solid, liquid and gas according to kinetic molecular theory with diagram. Okay. Now what did we discuss today? Today we have studied heat is about moving particles. Okay, and next time we will study heat transfer process, that is conduction. Thank you student. Hope you understand this lecture.